Hello everyone, and welcome back to another LEGO Star Wars mock review, where today we will be going over the TIE Avenger from Andor Season 2. So today I'm also going to be trying out a different format of video. When I first started making videos, I did the actually in studio and walking you through it, and today I'm going to be doing that for myself. So instead of having a script, because the way that I write ends up being very formal sounding, and I don't feel like that really fits the vibe of a LEGO video. And so I'm just going to be kind of going out from my heart about this build. So hopefully you guys enjoy. The TIE Avenger is a really cool TIE fighter in my opinion, and I really liked it, so as soon as I saw it in the trailers, I needed to make it right away. That's why I am the second person to have made one. I think it was really awesome to see it in live action, and there are so many different things that sets this apart from regular TIE fighters, so I'm really happy to be able to make this, but also that it looks so good. The ship was hard to make, but it definitely translates well into LEGO. I think there were a few places where I wasn't exactly sure about how it should look, especially when some of the angles wouldn't line up properly because of just the LEGO system. Other than that, there were only a few major changes that I needed to make from my previous model that didn't have to do with the structure of it. If you do go back and see the old version, then you will see that there are a lot of places that I did change it, but also that it has become a lot stronger. Now, if we jump into the deep end, you could see that there is a pretty big difference on the outside. The wings are a completely different color and also a different shape. The original color was black, and that's because I thought that it would be like a regular TIE fighter where it would have the black on the inside and black on the outside. This turns out not to be true. I did see somebody else made a mock with the light gray outside, and I thought that that was really interesting, but I wasn't sure how accurate it was until I went back and looked at a few more shots where you can actually see that it is that. But there was one thing that they missed, and that is there are different colored panels as well. Some of the panels are light gray, some of the panels are dark gray, some of the panels are tan, and so that's why I have the dark tan color here. I also did notice that some of the panels were different colors, especially the extra armor ones, but I only didn't make them a different color because I thought it wouldn't be as cohesive and it didn't look as good. Another thing is that there was a yellow stripe on the top of one of the extra armor panels, and I wanted to include that. Originally, it could have been a brick built design, but I decided that I didn't want to do that because it was just a little bit too difficult to make the shape line up right. These extra armor panels are also something that I noticed first. I think it's really cool that it has extra plating, and I don't know if these are specifically for having extra armor or if they're just there because it looks cool, or maybe it's like the black on the inside. It's supposed to be like solar panels, but I thought that was really interesting. I was also able to get the inside where it connects to the actual ship. I was able to get that pretty good looking, and I also did keep the red laser pointer things. I'm not sure what they are supposed to be, but I did keep this from my previous design because I always want to keep something because I think it's pretty neat to have references to it. One of the other things you might have noticed are these red triangles, and these are, I think, to signify that it is a prototype ship, and so you might see these markings on something that's unfinished, and that's why I included them. But then there's also these extra, I don't know if they're antennae or maybe they are guns, but they're on the end of the ship, and you could clearly see them in this shot. I thought it was really interesting. I even noticed this before I changed the colors of the wings, so these were black, but then I made them gray, and I only made them not dark tan here because I'm pretty sure that even if it is an extra panel or under the panel, it's still light gray. There are also different colors at the very tip of the wing, so there is a kind of triangle here that is dark gray. The final thing about the outside of the wing is that the back of it is longer than it was before. I had it at a 45-degree angle, and now it's at a about 30-degree angle. There was another person that had made a mock before me, and they made it so that it was the same amount on the front and the back, but I thought that that didn't look right, and I made sure to go back and look at it again. Even though my original version wasn't correct, it was still closer because this is kind of a little bit too long, and having the 45-degree angle is just a little bit too short, so I think that this is the perfect balance. Another thing with these extra panels and the grooves that make up the dent or the, I don't know what it's called, but the part that makes the V in the shape. The front one is supposed to be at a steeper angle and the back one is supposed to be a sharper angle. I really like that they went with this because it makes it asymmetrical, but it also, I feel like, makes sense the way that they did it, with the sharper angle also corresponding to the uh, shorter angle of the back wings, and then the sharper one corresponding with the longer angle of the front. And although my model is the only one to include this specific feature, I almost originally made it so that it was straight instead of angled, and I noticed that it was close to being straight, but I didn't think that it was right if I made it just straight because there is still an angle there, and so having the V shape was really important. If I move to the inside of the wing, you could see that other than the length changes, there aren't a lot of differences except for maybe the middle part where you can see that there are extra gray bits that pop up, and this was in the original model, but I just made them a bit smaller because I thought that they didn't need to protrude as much as they do now. The missiles are also pretty close to how they were before. I almost made it so that they had a cone at the tips, but then I decided that it should be like this bottle tip, and that's because that's kind of how it looks in the show, but it's closer than what it was. If I look to the other side, you could see that these also have rounded tips, and this is how it's supposed to be as well. Now for the changes to the actual body of the ship. The arms are completely different. Originally, they were held in by Technic and the round pieces, but I thought that that was not stable enough, especially because it was only one stud length of actual Technic rod that held it in, and that would not be stable at all. Another thing that I added was this middle piece, and that is a feature on the ship, but I wanted to add it because it wasn't in the original design. I tried to show that it was with the bumpy piece that was there, but I decided it would be better if this was just brick built. The slope also goes up to it pretty well, and then these are left the same. They have a really cool building technique. If you do want to check that out, the instructions are linked in the description. I think it was really cool that I was able to do this, but it's built into the structure really well. I tried to get as much reference material as I could when I was making this, and I found out that there was a behind the scenes video where they have the three markings on top because it's at a front top angle, and a lot of other people weren't able to notice that, but I don't blame them because it was hard to find and I had to go to a behind the scenes video to find it, but it still is interesting that they have that. Moving to the back, it's pretty much the same. I didn't make too many modifications to the back because I thought that it was perfect. The loading ramp in the back is still there. All of the features are still there. The only change that I made is that this piece is now dark gray because even though it's mostly like a light grayish, there's still a dark gray spot on it, and it wasn't a blaster piece or a blaster shot, so I made sure that it wasn't just like a marking that was there arbitrarily. It was an actual thing that's supposed to be there. These greebly bits are still there, and they're good. They do match up well with the show. And then it also has the hyperdrive. On the inside, most of this has stayed the same. The only difference is these pieces here because it makes it a little bit harder to get inside, but you are still able to put Cassian in here, and it hasn't changed too much from the previous design. There are extra panels and also the places that you can have him hold it, and this little bit in the front. I didn't make any other changes because I thought that would be too drastic and it didn't really need it. It's still built extremely well, and it's super interesting seeing how I built it, but there are no places in the back for extra minifigures, and that's because there's just so much structure, and I don't think that I don't think I could have reasonably fit them in here because there's not that much space anyway. And of course it has the Gatling guns and the lasers on the bottom. I did remove the little green spot there because it wasn't just an extra gun, it's a whole part that comes out of the bottom, and I did not keep that on this one because the stand would get in the way, and I just thought that even though it is a really cool feature, it's not something that I needed to include on this set. The final feature that I was able to add was this rotating turret on the side. Originally, I thought that it was just an extra piece on the inside of the wing until I realized that it was an actual thing that was on the outside. I assume that it connects into this like hole. I don't know what this is called, but this is on a lot of TIE fighters. The TIE Avenger, it is a darker color, especially compared to the dark gray, and so that's why I made it black. On the other side, you can see it's black too, and I was thinking about putting it here on this side, putting it here, but then I thought that that didn't really make the most amount of sense and that it would connect here. I do think in universe this ship would be very heavy duty and probably modular, so you could take all of these out and replace them with different types of missiles, or you could take all of these and have different types of turrets, different types of sensors, and even different cannons. Now, the last thing that I actually made a change to was the stand. I, when making pictures of this, wanted to have it sideways, and then I realized that it wouldn't be very stable if it was just these two groups of studs, as these two, or the four studs wouldn't be very stable. So I added these plates so that it would be more stable, and then you could have it sideways, or you could have it like how it is here, where it is actually leaning backwards, and that's probably how I would display mine. And that's all of the changes that I have made. I really hope that you guys enjoyed, and if you did, the link to Rubricable is down in the description. You'll be able to find this mock and also many other mocks made by me. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please like and subscribe so I could keep making awesome videos like this, and so that you could see even more of the things that I will be coming out with in the future. So thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.